So I've been sent this bike by DYU. It's the DYU FF500 and it's a step through fat tire folding e-bike. 500 watt motor with a 14 amp hour battery. It's good for roughly 35 to 40 miles worth of range, given sort of like, you know, you're going to go uphill, downhill, whatever. It's obviously a 500 watt motor, so bear in mind that it comes with a throttle, and with the throttle and in mode 3, which is full power mode, will get you to around about sort of 22 to 25 miles an hour, again depending on the terrain and yeah, how heavy you are. So let's talk about the bike then. So it's got standard 20-inch by 4-inch fat tires, which do offer some comfort over suspension. So it's a hardtail fixed rear suspension. However, they've come up with two really ingenious ways to deal with, you know, bumps. One is that this seat actually has a shock absorber in it. The second one is this seat actually has an air pocket in there, like the air pockets used to have to get in trainers, where you can pump it up and let it down. So for example, if I dump the air out of this, you can see how much that goes down, so hear the air as well. And then to pump it up, there's just this little sort of valve underneath, and you just pump it up to make it as yeah, as soft or as harsh as you need it. I think it's quite an ingenious idea. Battery compartments there. There's a key on this side to unlock the battery compartment and eject it. And there's an external charging point there, or the charge point is actually on the battery as well, so you can take the battery out and charge it. The handlebars fold down. Again, there's a little safety clip there. So it's very strong, the clip. Well, the handlebars fold down like that. So that's one side of the folding area. And then obviously you've got this as well. Again, it's very stiff, so good quality, and then it folds in the middle like that. All the cables go through the frame, so they're protected as well inside there. On the handlebar side of things, you've got a controller with 3 buttons. The middle one, marked M, is power it on, power it off, and it also goes through the trip computer, the voltage as well, which is quite good to see a voltage as well as an energy bar across the top for the battery kind of percentage. One thing that I've found with it is that if you stop pedaling, it doesn't read the speed. So as you're pedaling, it reads the speed. As you're using the throttle, it'll read the speed. But if you're not pedaling and not using the throttle, so you're just coasting, it doesn't read the speed, unfortunately. So yeah, but obviously you can go through with the buttons here. 3 levels of assistance. The first level of assistance will guide you to around about 9 or 10 miles an hour. The second will take you to about 15, 16 miles an hour. And the third is, well, it's unlimited. It's however fast, you know, sort of whatever speed you get out of it. Now you've got rear brake on this side, which is nice. Some bikes come where it's the opposite way round, but yeah, rear brake on the left and front brake on the right. And on the right, I would say you've got the thumb throttle, which you must hold down. And then you've got downshifter and upshifter through a Shimano 7-gear set, as you can see there on the rear derailleur. Again, on the front, 20 by 4-inch fat tyre, and yeah, these tyres are absolutely brilliant. Got them on a different kind of bike, and yeah, they're very grippy, very comfortable to use, give you good, how can I say, reassurance, road grip, that kind of stuff as you go on. You've also got a front light on there, which is controlled via pressing. Once it's powered on, you press the up arrow and keep it down for about 5 seconds, and that turns the front light on. I'll talk about the rear light in a minute. And then obviously you've got whether you want to lock the shocks down, because the front shocks are quite good, so you can either lock them in place so you don't get any shock, or you can open so they do actually move. And then on the left hand side is the preload, which is how much absorption or what level of shock you want them to take. For example, if you set them to no level, then essentially as you sort of brake, they'll dive down and spring back up. If you set the level to quite high, then you'll find you won't get much shock absorption, but it rides kind of like, you know, sort of quite steady then, but it's entirely up to you. You've got disc brakes. They are mechanical disc brakes, so that's they're cable driven, seem to work all right. On the back, you've got a nice rack. I think they call these somewhat of a carrier bike or something like that. So they're not exactly a commuter bike. They're not sort of off-road or whatever, but they're meant for, you know, carrying goods around, I guess. Delivery vehicle kind of like type thing in a city centre maybe. So yeah, folding pedals again. Dead easy to clip, fold away, and then unclip, and they're there. And like I say, rear light, and that is basically switched on, so it's not connected via a wire to the battery. It's got an inbuilt battery, like the little CR232s, which is unfortunate. It does mean that you've got to pop it off every time you want to change the battery. You've got a little switch on the back to turn that on and off. But yeah, overall, it's a really good quality bike. Like I say, with the fact that you've got a removable seat post, folding handlebars and folding frame. It does fold to quite a small size, so much so that I could fit it into the back of my van. So yeah, quite a small spec. Weight wise, obviously it's a chunky beast with a really big battery. So yeah, it's 31 kilos as you see it right now. Do like the fact that it's got some mudguards on there. They are plastic, but seem to be, you know, quite durable and quite thick. And I do like the way it rides. I especially like the suspension in the seat post as well. Obviously I'm on private land at the moment, which means I can bomb it round at full speed. And yeah, you don't feel the bumps over all the field bumps that are around. It's almost like you're gliding on air. You do feel it slightly more on the front. I've basically made the front as soft as I can, so it's made it quite nice to ride around the field. But yeah, I think overall it is a really good bike. You know, there's a few features in there that are very popular these days. So, you know, like the thumb control, the narrow bars, the folding bars. So it does mean that they've thought about who's going to use it and where. It would easily fit into the boot of a car, or like I say, fit into the boot of a camper van. But then if you've got a bigger vehicle, motorhome, or you want to put it on the back of a bike rack, obviously make sure the bike rack can support the weight of this. Then it just stays, you know, in its finished configuration. And then, yeah, you just get it off the bike rack and carry on riding it. As far as speed, you know, sort of like handling and things like that, so far I've done about 9 miles just bombing it around here and the tracks and everything else. I think it's all right. It's very stable. And then something else I've picked up on as well. So if you set off via the thumb throttle, or perhaps just use it like that without pedaling and let go of that, as you start pedaling again, it's waiting for so many revolutions of the crank before the crank sensor then says, right, okay, you need the motor now. So a few little sort of like strange things like that I've not found on any other bike. And the fact that it folds down and you still get a chunky bike with a great 150 kilo you know, sort of rider payload, if you like. I think that's quite good as well. 25 kilos of weight can be carried on the rear rack, and even though I weigh more than 25 kilos, I think you can agree that isn't bending under my weight. You do get some adjustment on the handlebar height as well, and when you assemble it, that's keyed in, so you can't put the handlebars the wrong way around. Talking about assembly, it's quite easy, about 20 minutes. I didn't even read the instructions. Essentially, pretty much everything comes assembled, apart from you have to put the seat in, put the pedals on, put the front wheel on, and even though the handlebars aren't actually fitted in there, this handlebar stem is fitted. All you've got to do really is insert the handlebar in there. Well, it comes with a bell as well. But yeah, as you insert the handlebars there, you'll notice it's keyed, so the handlebars can only fit in one place. I've had to adjust the brakes just to make sure they're okay. What I found was, as they came out of the box, the levers would come all the way to the bars, but I wouldn't get any brake. So that's the only sort of thing I've really adjusted, just the brakes. One thing I had to do after I'd unpackaged it, it came in kilometers. So switch it on, press the up and down arrows at the same time, go through the menu and change it from kilometers to miles an hour, just so that it's friendly for UK use. Yeah, that was easy enough to do. Very friendly to all who want to step through and go off and ride it, as opposed to sort of like the orange bike that I've reviewed recently, where you have to step over because the frame's there. So it's far more user friendly. So you don't need to cock your leg over. You can literally just step over, sit on it and carry on riding. Overall, I think it's a really good bike for the price. It's about £1,500. Right, thanks for watching guys, and I shall see you on the next video, in which I'm actually going to compare this bike along with all the other recent bikes that I've had, just to sort of show you the differences, difference in cost, weight, you know, whether it folds or not, just so that you've got an idea of, if you're looking for a bike, which one might be the right one for you. All right, take care, see you later, bye.